Hello, everyone. I'm here to further expose Saneter for his wicked ways, his bad character. So, for those who don't know what happened, he sexually assaulted me when I was 3 years old, and he did this in front of like an entire community of people, and he recorded it. Now, I don't know what he did to the footage. I don't know if he sold it to other people. I don't know if he keeps it for his own personal enjoyment. I don't know if he's made copies. But just based off of the way I get treated by the people, by my perpetrators, by the flying monkeys, by his flying monkeys, I assume that if they don't have their own personal copy of what happened to me when I was being sex trafficked, they know enough to where they put their own opinions on my personal life, on my sex life. They've shared like personal information with other people that it was really none of their business. And then a lot of them, like, they shout at me. Like, they don't talk to me directly, but how do I describe it? They either speak to other people or they talk about me right next to me in third person, so that, like, and they do it in a passive aggressive way to where in the past I've confronted them about being inappropriate, and a lot of them have just denied it because they didn't really say my name. They didn't come to me and say it to my face, but they were speaking around me. You know how people, when they're very immature or emotionally immature, and they handle problems poorly because of insecurities or ego or pride, they talk around you. Like people that really don't have the courage or the integrity to confront you directly and say what needs to be said, but they'll do slick talk. Like, that's what a lot of my perpetrators have done. They just do slick talk. They don't come to me face to face and say whatever their issue is. They talk around me so that when I confront them about the way they're behaving, they deny accountability, any form of accountability. And they gaslight me into thinking, oh, I ain't talking about you, I'm talking about somebody else. But they're inappropriately specific to my trauma enough for me to know that they're talking about me. It's I forget what they call it, the label. I know that when people act like that, a lot of the times it's called street theater. And then sometimes they call it like a voice to skull type of communication, but it's verbal. But I forget the name of it. Like, I know that people in the streets, we call it slick talk, but it's a layman's term for like when gang stalkers do it to you and they talk about you around you, and they may, share your personal business with other people. And I don't really know. I guess it's technically, legally, it's character assassination, but there was a layman's term that they used for gang stalking or targeted individuals that are being gang stalked by large groups of people. And when I find out the name or the title or the label of this form of communication, I will definitely put it in the description box below, or maybe even talk about it in another video, but I have to find out the name first. So before I really get into it, I don't know if I gave the trigger warning already. I probably forgot to do that. My bad. For those who have been traumatized, I apologize if I didn't give a trigger warning. So, trigger warning. I'm about to talk about something that's very explicit, and it's trauma that I've been through. And if it triggers you, then please, click off the video and go to another video. You can come back when you feel better or when you're ready to, to listen and, hear my testimony. But if, you're triggered, I really do apologize for not giving that trigger warning in the beginning of the video. Sometimes I forget because I'm used to just sharing my experiences, like with therapists, so I'm not used to going on a social media platform and telling my story to the public. I'm not used to this, so I'm an amateur at this. So, trigger warning for those who are triggered by these types of talks. If it triggers you in a negative way, please click off my video and go to another video or come back later when you're ready. Okay, so yes, Saneter did. He attacked me when I was 3 years old. He sexually assaulted me. He recorded the entire experience, and there were witnesses there, and they either chose to do nothing and say nothing, or they laughed at me. Saneter laughed at me. The people who support Saneter to this day, knowing the type of person that he is, they laughed at me too. They made fun of me out on the streets. They would dehumanize me by, like, for example, like, I've been forced out of a home. I've been forced out of a job. My finances have been tapped into. My inheritance has been hacked. My social security, like, it's been taken from me. My military status, that's been stolen from me. Like, I've never gotten credit for any of the work that I've put in this country. The hard work that I put in to protect Americans in this country, I never got credit for. Okay, the hard work and dedication that I put towards hip hop, I never got credit for. I wrote lyrics for people, and I never got paid. Never. I'm out on the streets. I've been out on the streets for almost 10 years. And the people who owe me money never gave me a dime, or they gave me a dime to be funny. Like, oh, hey, here's a quarter. Here's a dime. Go make something work with that. Like, trying to pimp me out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was the level of disrespect that I had to endure from the perpetrators of the gang stalking program. And I had to go through some very hard trials and tribulations just to survive. I had to go out on the streets and do street performances. Like, I tried to do everything I could to preserve my dignity, because I didn't want to compromise my integrity. I didn't want to sell my dignity for a price. So what I did was I did street performances, dance, played instruments, I would rap, and people would just put money in a hat, or, strangers who were part of the community, they supported me the best way they could, but it was only so much that they could do, because they didn't know me. I didn't know them. They didn't know if this was karma or not. Like, they had no way of knowing unless they saw the patterns, unless they just found out. You know what I'm saying? Strangers could only do so much. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them wondered why I was on the streets for so long, because they could tell that I had some form of education, and that they knew that I was a nerd, but they just didn't understand how I couldn't think my way out of this situation, how I always landed right back out in the streets. And I'm just sharing with those who support me, those who are in the community that support me. I want y'all to know that I tried everything. I did everything that I could to not only feed my kids, to get out the streets, to go back to school and get my education, to get my college degree. I did everything I could to accomplish that, but the perpetrators have violated my rights, have assassinated my character, and Saneter is a huge part of that. Saneter, he put feces in my food from when I was 3 years old all the way to now. Saneter has managed to get a large group of people to follow me around my every move. Follow me around to make sure and to enforce and to ensure that there is fecal waste or some type of poison in my food. They follow me everywhere. I've gone to grocery stores that are off the market, I guess, that are like not well known. Saneter and his people are always there, making sure that there's some type of poison in my food. I have not been able to escape being poisoned. Every single day, Saneter follows me around every single day. He gets his band of goons to poison my food and my water supply. So it's either and like I said, I've thought of the idea of maybe I should fast. Maybe I should not eat for a while. And I have done that. That's why I've maintained being slim for a while, most of my life.